Police curfew imposed in Colombo, Gampaha and Puttlam districts extended until 6 a.m. on Tuesday. Other areas to allow 8-hour window from 6 a.m. on Monday. 130 people who violated curfew arrested. Another group of people arrested for treasure hunting and gravel mining during the curfew. World Health Organization issues guidelines to tackle COVID-19.
Good evening and welcome to Primetime News on TV1. On to your lead story now. The President's Media Division said that the island-wide curfew imposed in the country has been extended until 6 a.m. on Tuesday, that is the 24th of March, to the Colombo, Gampaha and Puttlam districts. To the districts of Colombo, Gampaha and Puttlam, the curfew will be lifted at 6 in the morning Tuesday and will be reimposed at 2 p.m. the same day. The police curfew to the remaining districts will be lifted at 6 a.m. on Monday, that is the 23rd of March, and reimposed at 2 p.m. the same day. Issuing a communique, the President's Media Division said the government also instructed all bars in the country to remain closed during this period. The government also requested the public not to panic unnecessarily about a shortage of food, as all the essential food items are adequately stocked and the distribution of these items will continue as well. The government has also instructed police to allow farmers in the country to engage in their cultivation activities without any hindrance. Now, when it comes to the COVID-19 situation here in the country, the number of confirmed patients in the country has risen to 77. The Ministry of Health said that 245 suspected patients are under medical supervision. We have a breakdown of the confirmed COVID-19 patients as at 5 p.m. today. As at 5 p.m. today, the number of confirmed cases was 72. If we take a look at the spread of the COVID-19 patients, the majority was reported from Colombo at 16, Gampaha 10, Puttlam 6 patients, Kalutara 4 patients, Ratnapura 3 patients, while 1 patient each from Kurunegala, Gaul, K-Gaul, Batiklo and Badulla. 3 foreigners have been reported thus far, and the total was 72 as at 5 p.m. today. However, it has now risen to 77. Moving on to the percentage of COVID-19 patients according to their age category, majority of the patients, 34.7%, was reported between the ages of 41 and 50 years. Secondly came 31 to 40 years, that is at 18.1%. Taking a look further when it comes to the COVID-19 patients based on their gender, majority of these patients are male with a percentage of 67%, while 33% of these patients are female. However, yesterday the percentage of female was 19. If we take a look at the increase of the number of patients during the past few days, the first patient was identified on the 11th of March, and as you can see, somewhere in 17th of March to the 19th of March, there has been a gradual increase. However, to all of our relief here in Sri Lanka, the number of patients reported daily have been reducing thereafter. Now, the World Health Organization Director General told a virtual press conference today that the Wuhan city in China provides hope for the rest of the world. Now, the Director General also issued some guidelines.
Wuhan reported no new cases for the first time since the outbreak started. Wuhan provides hope for the rest of the world that even the most severe situation can be turned around. Of course, we must exercise caution. The situation can reverse, but the experience of cities and countries that have pushed back this virus give hope and courage to the rest of the world.
Speaking further, the Director General also provided guidelines of the World Health Organization.
But we're not only advising countries, we also have advice for individuals around the world, especially those who are now adjusting to a new reality. We know that for many people, life is changing dramatically. During this difficult time, it's important to continue looking after your physical and mental health. Eat a healthy and nutritious diet. Second, limit your alcohol consumption and avoid sugary drinks. Third, don't smoke. Smoking can increase your risk of developing severe disease if you become infected with COVID-19. Fourth, exercise. WHO recommends 30 minutes of physical activity a day for adults and 1 hour a day for children. If you're working at home, make sure you don't sit in the same position for long periods. And try not to read or watch too much news if it makes you anxious. Get your information from reliable sources once or twice a day. We have now identified some producers in China who have agreed to supply WHO. We are currently finalizing the arrangements and coordinating shipments so we can refill our warehouse to ship PPE to whomever needs it most.
Meanwhile, on Twitter, co-founder and former executive chairman of Alibaba Group, Jack Ma, said emergency supplies of 1.8 million masks, 210,000 test kits, 36,000 protective suits, ventilators and thermometers will be donated to Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Colombia, Laos, Maldives, Mongolia, Myanmar, Nepal, Pakistan and Sri Lanka. Speaking at a press conference recently, Executive Director of WHO Health Emergencies Program, Michael Ryan, said, quote, "The virus will always get you if you don't move quickly," end quote. He added, quote, "Perfection is the enemy of the good when it comes to emergency management. The problem we have in society in the moment is that everyone is afraid of making a mistake. Everyone is afraid of the consequence of error. But the greatest error is not to move," end quote. The executive director further noted, quote, "Greatest error is to be paralyzed by the fear of failure. That's the biggest lesson I've learned in Ebola response in the past," end quote.
5 inmates at the Anuradhapura prison were hospitalized to the Anuradhapura hospital following a shooting at the prison complex. Now, police headquarters said one of the injured inmates died upon admission. The incident took place this evening when several inmates attempted to flee during a protest by the inmates. Issuing a media release, the police headquarters said the prison officials were compelled to shoot as the inmates attempted to flee during the protest, and as a result, 5 inmates who sustained injuries in the shooting were admitted to the Anuradhapura hospital. None of the inmates at the Anuradhapura prison managed to escape during the incident, and officers attached to the Anuradhapura Police Riot Control Unit and the Police Special Task Force have been deployed for extra security at the Anuradhapura prison. Now, in the meantime, individuals who engaged in illegal activities during the curfew period have been arrested. Wildlife officials arrested 4 individuals for treasure hunting in the Kumana National Park last evening. The suspects were arrested near the Kumana River along with 2 firearms, while 2 more suspects had fled the scene. Police said among the suspects is a relative of a former regional politician in Lahugala. The arrested suspects were remanded until the 1st of April after being produced at the Pothuwil magistrate. Meanwhile, police arrested 7 individuals for gem mining within the Shannon estate behind several line houses. The Maravilla police also launched an operation this afternoon to raid a gravel record that was taking place while curfew restrictions were in effect. The raid took place following a tip-off from a local. The record has been taking place for some time. However, due to the non-availability of a license, the illegal operation had been suspended for some time. Before the police arrived at the scene, several tipper trucks had fled the area, and subsequently, when the police arrived, only 2 backhoe machines were discovered. Subsequently, the officers attached to the Maravilla police had seized the vehicles, while legal action is due to be initiated against the racketeers. 83 people who violated police curfew have been arrested from various parts of the country. According to the police, the suspects had been arrested from Bandarawala, Haputale, Dambulla, Walasmulla, Nallatanniya, Ampara, Uhana, Bandaragama, Akmimana and Karuwala Gaswawa. Police curfew was imposed at 6 p.m. yesterday and will be in effect until Tuesday and Monday based on the several districts. This was the situation in the city of Colombo today. While police checkpoints had been erected in several areas, vehicles which were entering and leaving the city were checked. Our cameras were also able to capture how essential services were being carried out this morning. A poultry farm in Vennapur had continued its operations today, disregarding the police curfew. Following complaints by area residents to the police and public health inspectors regarding this farm, a group of police officers had arrived at the premises and inspected the property. This was a situation which persisted in the city of Putlam and surrounding areas. The Thabova Regional Hospital was sterilized by a group of officers attached to the Civil Defence Force amidst many hardships. A CCTV camera had captured visuals of 2 people being arrested by the police in Ampara for violating police curfew. Our correspondent said that Anuradhapura and other surrounding areas seemed desolate today. Essential services are in operation in Anuradhapura as well. The continuous chanting of Pirit at the temple of the Tooth Relic in Kandy will be held today as well. While essential services are operational in the city, this was how workers from Municipal Council took steps to sterilize the city. Vehicles were checked in Polonnaruwa at various police checkpoints. Our correspondent said that the curfew has hampered day-to-day activities in Vaunia as well. However, the essential services in the area were functioning. This was the situation around Hikkadua, which usually has a high tourist attraction. There are 5 people at the quarantine center established at the Busa Navy camp. The situation around Matara was also the same, with the curfew in effect. The vehicles were inspected by the security forces, and vehicles that were authorized could travel on the expressway. The expressway duties were also carried out by the police. Five people who were violating the curfew law were arrested in the Kurunegala town. The police had taken steps to apprise the citizens of the area of the current situation. The Badulla and other areas in the region were also deserted as a result of the curfew that was imposed. Steps are taken today to disinfect public places in Hatton. A group who was surfing and fishing in Waligama had been released after being warned by the police. Our correspondent noted that 3 people who aided foreigners to surf have been arrested by the police. This was the situation in Jaffna. The busy Batiklo town was deserted today as a result of the curfew that has been imposed. This was a Mana town. There were no people in the Ampara town today except for the security forces who were on duty. The Dhamma sermon at the Mahavapi Mahavihari in Ampara continued for its 6th day today. This was the situation in the Dambulla town. 10 people have been arrested for violating the curfew law. Our correspondent noted that 2 3-wheelers and 3 motorbikes have been seized as well.
Two suspects, along with a stock of cannabis with a street value of more than 24 million rupees, has been arrested off the shores of Mannar. Media spokesperson of the Sri Lanka Navy, Commander Isuru Suryabandara, said the Navy seized 120 kilograms of cannabis along with the boat. A 72-year-old woman has been arrested for selling liquor illegally in a house located in the Mahawata East area of Pallekele. The arrest was made by the Pallekele police following a tip-off. The woman is due to be produced at courts. We will enact the law thoroughly against people who act against the quarantine procedures and the standard procedures that they have to abide by these days. There might be a possibility that we might have to arrest them. There might be some instances where we have to imprison them as well. The Penal Code of Sri Lanka permits us to put such people who act against the law behind bars for 2 years. Under the Act of Quarantine and Prevention of Diseases, we have the right to sentence them for 6 months in prison. Also, we have the right to simultaneously take action under these two acts. We ask you to stay indoors during the time of the curfew as well as during the times it is being lifted.
A foreign pastor who attended a service at a church in Ariale, Jaffna, has been tested positive for the COVID-19. Provincial Director of Health Services in the Northern Province, Dr. A.K. Kedishwaran, said that the pastor is receiving treatment at a hospital in Switzerland.
This is the manner in which security and health sector officials inspected the church at which the service was held on the 15th of March. The pastor who arrived from Switzerland left the country on the same day. 2 people who attended the service have been admitted to the Jaffna Teaching Hospital on suspicion of contracting the virus. There is a possibility that the others who attended the service may have been affected. Accordingly, those who attended the service are requested to inform us on 021 2217 278 and provide their name and their address. Although the curfew is in effect, our team will provide the necessary advice.
No COVID-19 patients were reported from the Chinese city of Wuhan today as a result of the several measures taken by the Chinese government in order to curb the spread of the virus. Now, how did the people in this region actually overcome this period? Earlier today, I spoke to Newsfirst Kushani Paris. Here's the pre-recorded segment. Due to the prevailing situation in the country, we here at Newsfirst also had to adjust to certain changes. Now, most of our journalists are reporting from home. We have a special report from Kushani Paris today, and let's listen to what Kushani Paris planned for you.
මේ කොරෝනා වෛරසයේ බිහිවීම එහෙමත් නැත්නම් මොකද විදිහට අපි හඳුන්වන්නේ චීනයේ වුහාන් නගරය. ඉතින් මේ වුහාන් නගරයේ කොරෝනා වෛරසයේ ව්‍යාප්තිය ආරම්භයත් එක්ක චීන රජය විවිධ පියවර ගනු ලැබුවා මේ වෛරසයේ ව්‍යාප්තිය පාලනය කරන්නට. දැන් අපි සිටින්නේ මේ මූලික අධ්‍යයනවල ශ්‍රී ලංකාව රටක් විදිහට මේ වෛරසය දැන් ක්‍රමයෙන් ව්‍යාප්ත වෙමින් පවතිනවා. ඉතින් රටක් විදිහට අපිට කොහොමද මේ වෛරසයේ ව්‍යාප්තිය පාලනය කරන්නට පුළුවන් කියන කාරණේ පිළිබඳවයි අද දවසේදී අපි අවධානය යොමු කරන්නට සූදානම් වෙන්නේ. මේ වෙනුවෙන් අපි මේ WhatsApp තාක්ෂණය ඔස්සේ සම්බන්ධ කරගත්තා චීනයේ වුහාන් නගරයේ ඉගෙනුම ලැබූ සිසුන් පිරිසක් ඔවුන් පසුගියදා ලංකාවට පැමිණියා. මේ වන විට ඔවුන් අපත් සමගින් සිටිනවා. ගිහාන් ඒ වගේම උගුල් අපි ඔබ දෙදෙනාව ආයුබෝවන් කියලා පිළිගන්නවා. මුලින්ම ගිහාන් මට කියන්න ඇත්තටම මේ වෛරසයේ ව්‍යාප්තියත් එක්ක චීන රජය ඔබලට දැනුම් දුන්නේ මොනවද?
පළවෙනි පාට මේක චීන රජයෙන් ප්‍රචාරය කරනකොට ඒගොල්ලෝ මූලිකවම කිව්වේ මාස්ක් යූස් කරන්න කියන්නේ වැඩිපුර කට්ටිය ඉන්න තැන්වල ඉන්න එපා. ඔයගොල්ලෝගේ අත්‍යවශ්‍යම කටයුතු වලට පමණක් එළිය ගන්න කියලා. ඒ කියන්නේ ගොඩක් කට්ටිය කැවෙච්ච තැන් වලින් ඈත් වෙලා ඉන්නේ.
ඔබ දැන් ඇත්තටම චීන ජාතික කිරීමක් නැත්නම් ඔබ ජීවත් වෙච්ච වුහාන් නගරයේ ජනතාව රාජ්‍ය ලබා දීපු මේ පණිවිඩයට අමුකම් දුන්නේ මොන විදිහටද? ඔවුන් ප්‍රතිචාර දැක්ුවේ කොහොමද?
චීනයේ තියෙන දේශපාලන ව්‍යුහයයි පරිපාලන ව්‍යුහයයි නීති පද්ධතියයි සෞඛ්‍ය ශාස්ත්‍රයේ තියෙන විධිමත් බවයි එක්ක ජනතාව පූර්ණ වශයෙන්ම රජයේ පණිවිඩයට සෞඛ්‍ය බලධාරීන්ගේ පණිවිඩයට ආරක්ෂක අංශවල පණිවිඩයට අහුම්කම් දුන්නා.
වුහාන් නගරය ලොක්ඩවුන් කරනවා. මේ ලොක්ඩවුන් කිරීමත් එක්ක ජනතාවගේ තිබුණු ප්‍රතිචාරය කොහොමද? ජනතාව ඒට අගනතුනේ කොහොමද?
රජයෙන් දැනුම් දීලා තිබුණේ නැහැ කිසිම අවස්ථාවක අපි හවල් දවසේ නගරය වහලා දානවා කියලා පූර්ණ වශයෙන්. දැන් ජනවාරි මාසේ 23 වෙනිදා උදේ 10ට නගරය වහනකොට ඒ වෙලාවේ චීනයේ තිබුණු තත්ත්වයටම සංස්කෘතික වශයෙන් අපිට විශ්ලේෂණය කරන්න පුළුවන් වෙනස්. ඒකට හේතුව ඔය චීනයේ ලුණ අලුත් අවුරුද්ද තිබුණ නිසා සාමාන්‍යයෙන් ඒකට රජයේ දීර්ඝ නිවාඩුවක් හම්බ වෙනවා. ඒ වෙනකොට චීන ජාතිකයෝ ආහාර රැස් කරගෙන සූදානම් වෙලා හිටිය අවුරුදු නිවාඩුවකට. ඊයේ ලංකාවේ ඇති වුණු තත්ත්වය ඊයේ හවස මේ දිල්ලියේ පනවනවා කියලා දැනගත්තාම විශාල පිරිසක් ආවනේ කඩවල් වලට. ඒ වගේ යම් අපිට ප්‍රතිචාරයක් දකින්න පුළුවන් වුණා එදා උදේ ඔය ප්‍රධාන වෙළඳසැල් වලට යම් පිරිසක් ආවා. නමුත් මේ චීනයේ සිටින විශාල ජනගහනය ඒ වෙලාවේ එළියට බැස්සනම් රට පාලනය කරගන්න බැරි තරමට විශාල බදබදයක් ඇති වෙනවා. එහෙම තත්ත්වයක් උදා වුණේ නෑ වුහාන් නගරේ වහන මොහොතේ.
Now, how can we protect ourselves from the COVID-19? This is what the Government Medical Officers Association had to say during a media briefing today.
The Italian government imposed a lockdown only after 9,000 patients were reported from the country. That was a wrong decision. China managed to control the situation, although there were certain setbacks in the process. As a country, we can be happy that we are controlling the situation through certain stringent measures. 72 patients have been identified with the virus. A decision was made to close down airports and impose a curfew, although a single death was not reported. If we do not pass this curve, we will be able to obtain the maximum benefit out of our limited resources. 25% of the contribution to control the situation can be given by the government and the health authorities. The remaining 75% has to be fulfilled by the people. People wear face masks, but they lower them while they are answering a call before lifting it up again. As a result of that, the hand touches the face mask. Recently, the World Health Organization said that the new coronavirus can survive on surfaces for around 3 hours through droplets of saliva. People are more likely to be affected by this. If we remove the face mask and leave it on the table, children might use it. Then the face mask becomes a tool that is being used to spread the virus. Testing at private hospitals, which cost 17,000 rupees, has been brought down to 6,000 rupees by the government. If a person is tested positive, it means he has the virus. Some people undergo self-quarantine after realizing that they have been affected. We wish to clearly state that quarantining is a process in which unaffected people confine themselves to a facility. Those who are affected should not stay at home without receiving treatment. That can cause severe repercussions.
රෝගයේ හැදුණු කිසිම කෙනෙක් රෝගයට ප්‍රතිකාර නොගෙන ගෙදරට වෙලා ඉන්න එපා. ඒකේ ඒ තරම්ම බරපතල වීමේ අවදානමක් තියෙනවා.
අපි ජාතියක් විදිහට තරුණ පරපුර විදිහට මේ වෙලාවේ එකට එකතු වෙමු. මේ වෛරස් එකෙන් බේරෙන්න අපිට පුළුවන්. හැබැයි අපිට දෙන වෛද්‍ය උපදෙස් අපි නිසි ලෙස පිළිපදිමින් අපේ යුතුයකම් අපි නිසි ලෙස ඉටු කරමු. මේ මොහොතේ අපි එකට එකතු වෙමු. ජාතික වගකීමක් ලෙස අපි හිතට අරගෙන ක්‍රියා කරමු.
ගම්මැද්ද V-Force.
According to a tally by Johns Hopkins University, more than 272,000 people have been infected by the virus and at least 11,310 people have died in 186 countries. Up next is our international update.
In China, Friday marked the third day in a row in which no new local infections were reported. 41 were imported from overseas. Mainland China reported 41 new cases of the novel coronavirus yesterday, all of which were imported from overseas. China has donated a total of 100,000 novel coronavirus testing kits to the Philippines. The kits, along with 10,000 N95 face masks, 100,000 surgical masks and 10,000 items of personal protective equipment, arrived in Manila this morning. Italy has called its armed forces to help enforce quarantine measures in the country. Italy is dealing with the deadliest outbreak of the virus in the world. It's more than 4,000 people have been killed, including 627 in a 24-hour period. More than 47,000 people have been infected. However, more than 250 people have now died of the novel coronavirus in the United States. A staff member in US Vice President Mike Pence's office has contracted the novel coronavirus. Pence is leading President Donald Trump's coronavirus task force. German automaker Volkswagen has temporarily shut down 2 of its plants in Guanajuato and Puebla in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Thailand reported 89 new COVID-19 patients on Friday, the country's biggest single-day jump in new cases since the pandemic began. In the face of the coronavirus outbreak, Hong Kong's subway operator Mass Transit Railway deployed a fleet of mini fridge-sized robots to help deep disinfect its trains and stations. The box-like robots are capable of autonomously rolling down the trains as they spray a vaporized hydrogen peroxide solution. They could either be controlled remotely or given a preset route to follow through areas that may have been contaminated with the virus. Singapore and the UAE reported 2 coronavirus-related fatalities today. Authorities in Sydney are closing Bondi Beach after crowds gathered at the iconic waterfront site to take in the sun and swim, effectively ignoring warnings about the importance of social distancing to help prevent the novel coronavirus from spreading. The UK government said it will subsidize the wages of any worker facing unemployment because of the coronavirus pandemic, as it ordered the closure of pubs and restaurants. Finance Minister Rishi Sunak told reporters that the government will cover 80% of the workers' salaries for at least the next 3 months, up to a maximum of £2,900 a month, which is more than the average income. And Google has launched a coronavirus education website on Saturday that contains safety tips and authoritative information about the pandemic. The site, google.com/COVID-19, is focused on education, prevention, and local resources.
Now in news from the COVID-19 situation here in Sri Lanka, the first 2 wards dedicated to treat patients who have been infected by the COVID-19 at the Colombo East Base Hospital was opened today. Now the event was held under the auspices of Minister of Health, Pavitra Wanyarachi, and Director General of Health Services, Dr. Anil Jasinghe. The hospital was transformed to treat COVID-19 patients following a decision made by the government. Accordingly, this is the second hospital which will be used as a dedicated facility to treat COVID-19 patients.
100 beds and 30 special beds have been arranged in this hospital for COVID-19 patients. At the same time, we have acquired a portion of the Neville Fernando Teaching Hospital to treat suspected patients. Within a few days, we will be using the intensive care unit of the KDU Hospital to treat serious cases of COVID-19, if required. Staffers, including specialists at the Colombo General Hospital, Colombo South Teaching Hospital and Colombo North Teaching Hospital, would be rostered to work at these facilities.
Now, Chairman of Lanka Satosa engaged in an inspection tour at several storage facilities owned by Lanka Satosa. According to the chairman of Lanka Satosa, Nushad M. Pereira, Lanka Satosa has stored dry rations that are sufficient for 3 months. The chairman also inspected several storage facilities owned by Lanka Satosa.
There is enough stock. We have enough stock in our warehouses, in all our sub-warehouses. However, if as a consumer you are going to push and really shove and try to get more items that you really need, there will be some kind of a distribution problem. So we are asking you to not go and overstock yourself. There's enough stock in our warehouses. We have items for more than 3 months in all our warehouses. There's no reason for you to panic buy and to stock yourself.
Goods were supplied to many areas from the South Sudan Distribution Center in Valisara today as well. And that's a wrap of this edition of Primetime News for tonight. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Mazra San. We would like to thank our sign language interpreter, Ms. Taraka Gabriel, for interpreting our news broadcast for the differently abled people in the country. For you to keep a track on these stories and many more, you can log on to our website, www.newsfirst.lk. Thank you for watching us. Take care and good night.